Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of Let's Talk About the Music. On this episode, actually, let me stop for a second. In the next two episodes, episode 10 and 11, we're going to do a duo, Women Power in the Music Industry. This one right here is about women in drumming, and 11 is going to be all about sound engineering. I'll tell you about that next episode. All right, so this is all about women drummers. Now, we're going to be talking to my good friend Ripple from Juliet Tango. And you guys remember Evita from Way Past Midnight? She was on the show, episode 2. Well, she's back on the show, and we're going to be talking about them being women drummers. Got it? Now, here's a little story, a little history on this topic. Women drumming have been drumming for centuries. It represents the heartbeat of a Mother Earth. It's a way for connecting to Divine Mother to rhythm fashions. Drummers are women. Their beats in their inner rhythm of the cycle of the Earth cycles that changes our seasons, our tides, our lives. Now, let's roll into the music, our modern rock. Now, the very first woman have been recorded to be part of the industry from 1920s, 1950s was based on Vala Smith. She was the very first drummer to be hired, and all she was able to do is do orchestra and swing bands. She didn't make any money or anything, but she was the pioneer of our eras. Now, as soon after Evita in 1960, Karen Carpenter picked up the drums. And they're now also one more thing. Only 10% of drummers worldwide are women. The rest of it is all men. You guys can Google that stuff. So that is what we're going to be talking today. What we're going to be having a conversation with Evita and Ripple. Okay? So before everything happens, Papa Sash, play that theme song for me. Hit it, guys.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. All around.
All right, so welcome to episode 10. Have a very exciting show tonight. I will be talking about women drummers. So I'm excited about this episode. I have Riley over here from Juliet Tango, and I brought back Evita Way Past Midnight to talk about women drummers. So this show is going to be audio and visual. So those who are going to be listening to us, I'll have you guys give about 5 minutes to talk about yourselves, about who you guys are, what you attribute to the conversation. And let me turn on my little timer thing, but I forgot to do that. And then when you get to past 5 minutes, I will give you this little one thing, and then and then you have that 1 minute. Okay, all right. And all right, I will have Miss Riley go first. All right, go ahead, Ripple.
All right. Hi, I'm actually Ripley from Juliet Tango. Yeah, don't feel bad. I get called Riley so much I actually answer to it most of the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've been playing drums with Juliet Tango for a few years now. I don't know, 5, 6, somewhere in there. And it happened kind of by accident. I feel like I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, I feel like, kind of like representing like
Hang on a minute, guys. Hang on.
They were some shows at South by Southwest and to tour on the way down and the way back to Austin. And his band members at that time didn't want to play all of the smaller shows on the way down to Austin and the way back. They wanted to fly into Austin and play the big shows at South by Southwest and then fly home.
Oh,
And he was like, that's not really cool. And then he looked at me and he was like, well, you're a musician, right? Which is true. I've played piano since I was 3 and bass guitar and violin, almost every instrument except the drums. And he was like, well, you can figure it out, right? Like, our music's not that complicated. I like a really simple drumming style. And I was like, yo, sure. I mean, probably. And he gave me a set of drumsticks and headphones with like his band's music and some of the covers they've played. And in the van, like on the dashboard on the way down to Austin, I practiced with the drumsticks there. And then the first time I ever played drums with Juliet Tango was like at a club on 6th Street, like the main street of the music festival of South by Southwest, in front of like 500 people. And it was terrifying. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I just kept going. We just started a new project after that and then kept going with Juliet Tango.
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right. All right, Miss Evita, same thing. Tell us about yourself and what you attribute to this conversation.
Well, I go back to childhood in elementary school. I learned to play drums, first rudiments in a drum and bugle corps. And it was fun and interesting. And we marched in the St. Patrick's Day Parade and local parades throughout our community. And, it was the mainstay of my propelling musical career, in terms of it was something that I felt very comfortable doing all the time, because true drummers, just like Riley was saying, we play everywhere. Just give us pencils, pens, straws, and we're always like trying to do some kind of beat somewhere, somehow. And that was how I responded to playing the drums. And I did it throughout, and then in college, I actually took. I'm sorry, not in college, but in high school, I actually took up the trumpet to play something different and to learn something to play differently. And so, just like what Raleigh was saying, I hope I'm saying your name right.
Almost, it's Ripley. It's
oh, Ripley, like
yeah,
Ripley's
like Believe It or Not. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's
Okay.
how most people
See, if you
remember
had said that, no issues. Now you're famous.
it.
But I'm sure you're famous anyway. But in any case, so I took that whole musical thing to the next levels, in terms of being able to play the trumpet, and with that, I was sought out to join this band called Life USA, way back in the day, because they wanted to model the group after Sly and the Family Stone. So it was very interesting that I joined this group playing the trumpet versus playing the drums or singing, which both things, I'm able to do. And we did really well. We were RCA recording artists and Buddha recording artists, and a couple of other nondescript label things that we did back in the day, and we had a lot of fun, being in the business. And then life happened, and so I got married, raised my kids, and the whole 9 yards. And my church recruited me to play in the church loft. So I brought my little drum set up, and it was great practice to be able to continue to do the trapping and playing behind, this contemporary type music and stuff. And with that, a friend of mine, Melody, who was also interviewed by Shels a little while back, said, "Hey, come out to New Jersey and join our musical consortium." And I said, "What is that?" She said, "That's a bunch of musical teachers and stuff who get together, and we want to be out there and do our music, etc." And so what wound up happening is we did a couple of porch concerts, because this was during COVID, and we decided that we were going to start a group of 4 lady musicians called Way Past Midnight. It's called Way Past Midnight because that's when we were the most inspired. Because after midnight, doing
Yeah,
what
the
we
witching
do.
hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
witching
and
hour.
well, the witching hour extends itself after a certain point, so, which is a lot of fun. So from that point on, I've been the drummer slash vocalist for our group, and it's just been a blast. And we've been having doing all kinds of different appearances here, there, and everywhere. Um, We've done caroling, we've done concerts, we've done outdoor concerts, indoor concerts, we've done musical theater, music. So, we run the gamut. And our little tag is we do rock to opera. So it's been
Oh
really
wow,
cool
that's right.
in terms of expressing the cadences and tempos and different nuances that go together in in formulating drums and drum patterns. So that's where I'm emulating from. It's been fun.
Cool. All right. And I'm Shels, and let's talk about the music. And I started the whole thing in 2015. But believe it or not, I actually do have my own hand drum. I'm a hand
Oh,
drummer.
oh, oh,
I Yes, I've been hand drumming since I guess I found the path in 2015, no, 10, I think, and out of my pagan store. And so I just love the hand drum. I actually bought myself a vegan crafted pagan drum, and so I just absolutely love it. I call him my purple dragon because he's a huge purple dragon. He's bigger than I am. I'm 4 foot
That's
11.
cool. Do you take part in like drum circles and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't done
Those are really amazing.
Yeah, I haven't done circles for a while, but I really want to get back in drum circles.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been doing that for quite some time. I kind of like got out of the habit of it because of life, as y'all
Yeah.
say, life. But life is starting to slow down. I really want to drum, so yeah. So my hand drumming. So had a lot of fun.
very good, very good,
Yeah.
very good. Well, one of
All
the
right.
things that I want to say about drumming, if I may, ladies,
Yeah.
is
Go
that
ahead.
my concept in terms of having also instructed others, in drumming and drum patterns, is the first rhythm you ever hear is your mother's heartbeat.
Heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first pattern you ever hear, and then eventually you're getting the rhythmic um, give and take of your heartbeat versus your mom's heartbeat, all in vitro.
Oh
and
yeah.
and and so between the two of you, you've already got this wonderful patterning happening. That's the pulse of life, and it's a
Believe
beautiful thing. So
believe it
so I so go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Well,
Yeah. So,
believe it or not, during the research I was doing today before the episode, is that women and drumming has been a part of the culture for centuries because it's a rhythm of the heartbeat of the earth or
yes,
heartbeat of the divine. So when
yes.
women do drum, they feel their heartbeat or they're connected to the magical realm of the earth. Now, do you two still feel that way when you do your drumming, or is it something different kind of magic?
I'll let you answer first,
Ripley.
Ripley. Ripley.
Don't feel bad. Everyone goes for Riley first. Um, I'm not sure if like that's something I've consciously thought before, but it definitely makes sense. Like it's an idea that I definitely connect with when hearing it.
Right.
Well, for myself, um, since I actually taught myself how to play trap drums, it's always been almost like a dance because the feet are connected to the ground and then your hands are connected to the rest of your body. So there's this constant flow of energies that do bring me into almost the spirituality of the feel of the concept of the music, and with that, I'm able to create and distribute whatever the beat is. My biggest thing when I'm drumming with anyone, and I've played with many, many different kinds of people in different stratas, is where's that one? If we
Yeah.
can agree on the one, then everything else is always fun and easygoing and everybody's feeling their one uh, at the same time. And then after that, as you get closer to a four, you can do everything in between. But then we come back together on the one. And
I
each
really
time we
like
come
how
back
you
together
relate
on,
dancing. Oh, sorry.
does that make sense to you,
Yeah,
Ripley?
absolutely. I really love how you relate drumming to dance. I actually have a lot more experience as a dancer in like ballet and hip hop and modern and tap and every kind of dance than I do as a drummer. But I've always felt that drumming was much more of like a full body activity than I think I had expected it to be. You know, it really
Mhm.
requires the same sort of like mind to body connection with every part of you that
Yes.
like as dance does. It's really similar in that way, you
Right.
know?
Good.
And like after playing for a long time, I find my like whole entire body like exhausted in the same way as I do with dancing.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, it's funny. You know those watches that are attached to your phones, the ones that
Yeah.
tell you the steps. When I
Yeah.
wear my watch and I play, that thing's going crazy because of all the movement. It thinks that I'm like running.
Yeah.
Well, when I started learning how to do my hand drumming, I would actually mimic people, and then how they started doing their drumming. And so there's one that will do the hand middle of the hand drum to the rhythm to the edge of it, and do that kind of a pattern. While other drummers down on the circle will actually just do 1 pound in the middle of the whole entire drum. And there's all sorts of different kind of drums that they're hand drums they're bringing into the circle. But I ran into this one in an SCA group, and he was actually Arabic. And so he actually taught me Arabic drumming for a little bit. And so it's fascinating the way how I was drumming in this one particular rhythm. And then I learned how to do Arabic drumming. It was just an interesting kind of rhythm. Same
Yes.
drumming, but just kind of yeah, give it a kind of dance.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The rhythms and the I call them patterns. They resonate throughout music.
Yeah.
Like yourself, Ripley, I also play a variety of different instruments, and many of them are self-taught.
Mhm.
And I look at something, I may not know the piece right away, but with enough study and watching and listening to the piece, I look at the patterning. And if I'm looking at sheet music, let's say, all right, even as it applies to a particular song, I'll look at that sheet music and I'll look at the bass line. And when I look at the bass line, that's where my patterning is. Or I'll look at even the treble clef and it's so there's those 16ths or those eighth notes that are giving me what is necessary for me to pull this piece together and to give it its sense of flow.
Yeah.
Because just like with dancing, Ripley, as you were saying, there's this whole energy that has to be incorporated for you to be the rock of the sound.
Yeah.
Drummers, we are really the rock. We're carrying the flow and the
Yeah.
and the
The heart.
consistency of the sound.
Hmm.
You know, some other musicians may give us that credit, but even if they don't, we already know it.
It's true. And it's really interesting how every musician has their own kind of form of like pattern recognition and how they like learn something or remember it. Like the way you just described it, I totally understand. And it's also completely different from the way that I approach a piece of sheet music and recognize patterns. But like
Uh-huh.
it makes complete sense. It's really interesting how people's brains work differently to approach a piece of music and like find those patterns and internalize it and then reproduce it in their own way.
And how do
Now,
you how do you translate it, Ripley? Just to comment on your
It,
way.
oh man, I don't even know if I could articulate it. It's really like so it's easier for me to describe actually when I'm looking at a piece of sheet music for piano. I haven't really ever used like sheet music for drumming at all, but I tend to see like certain chords broken up over measures. And so I'll be like, oh, over these three measures, I'm basically playing like an E minor chord. You know what I mean?
Okay,
And then over
okay.
these next four ones, it's like an A minor and then a C major. And then I kind of break it up that way in my head.
Okay.
So it's like certain notes kind of just pop out to me from the
Yeah.
music, and like those are
Yeah.
the ones that I use as like, mile markers throughout the sheet music kind of. And
Excellent.
my husband,
Excellent.
it's really interesting. Any song he listens to, he describes it as seeing different parts of the songs in like different lines. Like the verses will be like in, these lines here for him, and then the chorus pops out to him in like a bolder like line that comes up here. Like he almost sees it in like a visual pattern, like a synesthete. It's really
Wow.
interesting.
Very, very good.
Yes.
I have experienced that myself,
Mhm.
and I love that there's other musicians that go through that kind of genesis.
Yeah,
It depends on the song. It depends on what your part in that song is and how you need to construct it for you to give your best to it, and
absolutely.
that's lovely
Yeah.
because I even feel that way when it comes to classical music because
Oh,
I'm
me
listening to
Oh
a
yeah.
violin and all of a sudden I'll hear an oboe and I'm listening for that timpani coming in or out or who's really in classical music. It's funny because um, who's really carrying the one, and you would think it was the conductor, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's
The
not.
drummer.
It's so
The drummer.
funny. Sometimes if you look at a conductor, they look totally out of it.
Yeah.
And the music's just going along and flowing and everybody's together and it's like, okay, so what's holding us down? uh, but and
So
every once in a while you'll see somebody look up, meanwhile they're looking at the music, but they'll look up just to see, where's his hand now.
Yeah. Yeah.
so who inspired you guys to be drummers? You guys remember who inspired you guys?
For me, it was Ringo Starr. I'll have to be
Okay.
honest. That's how far back I go. Ringo Starr and any drummers that were in that genre of time. In terms of actually, I can go all the way back to some of the classic guys like Gene Krupa, and those guys from the '40s and stuff. Because
Yeah.
my parents always had '78s around, and they were always listening to some kind of music, jazz, swing, classical, whatever it might be. We were exposed to that and more. And yeah, I'll have to say for my own lifestyle and I just like the way he swung his head too. Well, you know, while he was keeping that beat going, But I have to give it to him because he was always consistent.
Oh yeah.
That is the key. You
Yep.
you agree? I
Absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely.
and you can't take that away from him. I mean, a lot of people
Oh,
they laugh and they say, "Oh, Ringo was just that," but no, man, he was on it
yeah.
and down, and
I could
that's
not
what
agree
I
more.
admired. Well, number one, even to this day, little kids are singing their songs.
Yep.
so and wanting to play their songs. So there's something to be said about that whole immersion of that kind of music that they brought to the world. But that was the thing that intrigued me about drumming and translating it from just rhythm, just rudiments. When you're in a marching band,
Hmm.
your legs, the same type of thing, but you're physically standing up and translating those beats, while you're marching in a parade or whatever it is. And um, hearing popular music at the time and seeing that, hey, he's doing the same thing, but he's doing it to this to the people going crazy and really really feeling it, and I love
Yeah.
that. That looks like a lot of fun. So so that's where I got that from. How about yourself,
Yeah.
Dawn?
For me, I mean, I remember one time in elementary school, there was an assembly and some band played. I don't even remember who they were. And I remember watching the drummer, it was a woman, and I just remember being really like struck by I don't even remember what the band sounded like, any of the songs they played. I only remember seeing her, and I thought she was so cool, and that the drums were just like such an overpowering sound, especially in like an elementary school
Yeah,
auditorium, you
yeah.
know. But that wasn't enough to inspire me to start playing then. It was really, my husband Joe's desperate need for a drummer in South by Southwest. It really got me to actually play finally.
Well, love will work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
It's motivating.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I've been also blessed with being able to play hand drums like the
Oh, okay.
bongos and the djembe and other like I said, we used to just play on whatever, rhythms on wherever. And it's going back to the African roots or the Indian roots, American Indian roots, or, even the Eastern drumming and
Mhm.
how that translates to their culture. So, one of the things that I really enjoyed about how drumming and cultures um, imitate and immigrate with each other is having seen that Irish um,
Oh, yes.
play.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. The
What's
hand
his
stick
name?
drums.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it's more about dancing than it is. Ripley, help me out here. It's more, it's the
is it?
Irish. They're all over the stage and they're
Yeah.
dancing. And
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
There's a
oh.
heavy rhythm and drumming component though too. I'm gonna feel really bad because Joe and I are both Irish. He's half Irish and half Lebanese. And if you listen really hard to some of our music, you can really hear both of those influences in the songs that he writes. He grew up
okay,
with a first generation immigrant for a mother who's Lebanese, and so he grew up around listening to her music. And there's like a few songs you can really hear that influence, and you can also really hear the influence of like I really should know this. My Irish grandmother would be furious with me right now, but you know the hand drum they carry that they
yes,
Mhm.
yes,
play like with
they
that,
play like
yeah,
this.
and
Yes, yes.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Joe, he can play those. He uses those like they're used in the inspiration for like our sounds, and it's really very very cool style. And
Yeah, Michael
It's called.
Flatley is the
It's
name of the
called.
guy who brought this musical to America,
that's
and that musical it's so wonderful that they talked about how hip hop was influenced, how African dancing is influenced. They didn't just talk about the Irish part about it.
yeah.
That's what I loved about that musical, and I was like taken aback by how they were integrating all the different sounds and patterns and how that relates as to how people come together and dance. Like if you look at the American Indians when they do their powwows, right?
Yeah.
Hey, 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 hey. Again, there's a don 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 don. There's that one all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Which accentuates what they're doing and how they're doing it. And every once in a while, they'll flip it around, to have somebody do something a little different, and kick up that dust.
The
So
instrument you're referring to, the Irish drumming, is called. I'm going to say this wrong. Bod Haran. Bodhran.
I wish Joe was here. I could like yell it down the hall and he'd probably tell me what it was, but I don't know the pronunciation.
So the
I
the
have like
frame
nice.
drumming the frame drumming is used in Irish music, reveling around 25 to 65 cm denominator, whereas most drumming measuring is between 35 to 45. The size of the drum are 9 to 20 centimeters deep. A goat skin head is tucked in one of the sides.
Nice.
So that
Nice.
is the Irish drumming.
I'm not sure our drum is goat skin, but
Now you said about the bongos. I could never get into the bongos. I had a bongo set. I did try it, and I didn't really care for the sound of the bongos.
you gotta
Yeah.
listen
The
to
bongos kind of
Patsy.
like didn't really. That's just me though. I didn't like the sound of it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
Well,
know why, but it didn't
well,
really click.
there's a lot of people who play bongos. They have a way of tuning them either very, very high, ding, 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 ding,
Hmm.
ding, ding,
Yeah,
or lower, depending on what kind of sound they want to have. Now, I've seen bongo players who played with conga players tune their bongos down so that they can blend better
Sure.
with the conga players because the
Yeah.
conga sound is a little It's a little deeper. It's not as low, but it's deeper.
That
And
makes
so
sense.
I've played all of that. And Sheila E. do a little Sheila E. With the timbales. The timbales have that bang, almost a banging type thing to get you going in terms of the rhythmic patterns that one can do there. And of course with the timbales, you have to have a cymbal.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Do you keep your drums tuned a certain way, like your drum style, like when you play?
Well, I was taught how to do 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 do
Oh yeah, the
because I want
decreasing
my right.
frequency.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I like the four. The snare, the two toms, and the floor tom.
Hmm.
So I go that way so that my tom, because of some of the music that my group does now, we do some, like I said, classical and some of our singers do opera from time to time. So
Oh,
I'm thinking timpani. So I'll
oh yeah.
I'll 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 turn down my floor tom to get that
Yeah, I
that
drop mine
deeper
down really low
that
too.
that deeper sound.
For a different reason though. Mine's more like more in, like a imitation of like Dale Grover from the Melvins or some that
Okay,
real like low grungy, like yeah.
yeah, okay, but again, the effect is good. The
Yeah,
effect is good.
Right.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then and then my bass drum I keep consistent. I don't really tune it to the rest of it to the other four. I
Yeah.
just keep it so that I can do action on it. Because if I
Yeah.
if I tune it too low, you can't get that action
Yeah, I agree.
when you want to
When
double on it or
Yeah, I
something.
do the same. I play really fast on my bass drum a lot, so I need it to be like really responsive.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Yeah.
there we go. There we go.
Yep.
So again, you have to know the techniques. You have to know what you're playing and what you
Yeah, the
need.
sound that you want.
Yes, the
right,
sound that you
right.
want and need. And we just purchased a drum set for me to have because I live in Long Island, and most of the work that we do as musicians and stuff is in New Jersey. So I'm traveling across the Hudson
Oh yeah.
River and all this kind of thing, right? So my partner and I, we decided that we were going to buy a drum set to keep in her garage.
Smart.
Really good idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
hey,
can you
it's
imagine?
working out. I got to tell you, it's working out really nice. That's much slumping I got to do. Except
We've
we got to
got
take
my
it out
drum
of her
kit
garage to
so
use it.
stripped down and our like equipment so stripped down that when we play smaller shows that we know are going to be in a smaller room, we can fit all of our gear, including my drum kit, in my two-door Mini Cooper, which I think is kind of an accomplishment.
That
Nice.
is. I like Mini Coopers. So that is, girl. Yeah.
Now to go
Very
back to tuning real quickly. When I tuned up my hand drum, I had to use a wrench because it's made differently.
Mhm.
But I tune it where I can actually enjoy the sound of it. On the side of it, usually kind of tangy for my ears, but I do tune it up a little bit too. It won't sound so tangy when I start pounding on the sides of it.
Right.
So that's what I like to do when I started doing my hand drums.
good, good. Well, it's very important for not only the audience but you as the drummer to to get the kind of reaction you want when you put your sticks on it.
Yeah.
Okay, or when you're using your hands to
Yeah.
translate the sounds that you want to translate. um I was in the pit for the Little Mermaid, which is a
Okay.
musical.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a Roman Catholic high school in New Jersey. I was blessed to join them, and I had the bongos on top and the congas on the bottom, and somebody else was playing the regular snare drum, right? But when they get into the the rhythmic rumba type, mambo, whatever the kinds of sounds that they have there, I was all over the place, you know, here, down here, and the crowd was going really cool because it was all just really flowing so nicely. And what I did was I used my hands to be on the skins of the drums where I wanted a particular sound. So I was almost melodically playing the beats
Yeah.
to complement the orchestra, the rest of the
Okay.
orchestra.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a really cool experience.
Yeah. A wonderful
Yeah, yeah.
experience.
Mhm.
really was. You know, when you've got the opportunity to feel whatever the skins are, it doesn't matter if it's goat or lamb or whomever cow, whatever's being stretched on there, you know, it gives you a whole other way of taking in, you know, what you're playing, and it's just
Right.
wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, for the entire beat. Now, I've talked to a lot of drummers, and I've seen a lot of drummers who are nothing but angry.
Why?
Ripley, have you seen those angry drummers? Yeah, I
I
mean,
have seen the angry drummers. I think the even bigger stereotype that I've heard and then experienced is unreliable drummers. A
ooh,
lot of bands I've played with have drummers that like don't show up for the show, or a huge experience for us is something we call drummer poaching, which is we'll play a show and it's like I cannot overstate how much it happens that other bands will come up and ask me if I want to play drums with their band or play with their side project band. And Joe is always like, no, you can't keep my reliable drummer. He's like, I got a reliable drummer and I married her to keep her. Go find your own.
good for you. Good for
I mean,
you.
I do also think also there's something of like and whether this is, I mean, it is what it is. I think there's a novelty for some people about women drummers. You know, I think that it wouldn't matter how I played. I think some people like the image of like having a female drummer
Well,
in
you
the
know,
group.
I've experienced just the opposite, where um, it's been shunned, and they don't believe that you can actually play
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of times.
Yes,
Oh
Have
yes.
you had
yeah.
that? Yeah,
Yo
you know,
yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Or I'll have guys say things like, "Wow, you really hit those hard," or "Yeah, I didn't think you'd play that well," or stuff like that. And you're like, "Oh, you had to say that out loud, did you?"
yeah, well, you know, it's funny about the question mark, and you know, I've also had to learn how to translate to be able to play on electronic drums,
Oh,
which is a whole other thing too. And I said, hey, you know, that's all fine, well, and good if I'm playing. The first time I've done it, I did it was in an elementary school for a director that I knew. You know, he was having his school recitals and projects going on, and he said, "Oh, you know, just bring your sticks. You know, we already have an electronic drum set." I said, "Oh, really? Okay." So, you know, as we were practicing and rehearsing with the kids and everything, um, it was great because the drums were coming through the PA system.
oh
So I
yeah.
had absolutely no problem hearing it.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool. You know, because a lot of times people have those electronic drum sets, and it's whatever speaker that they decide they want to, you know, use.
Yeah. Yeah.
And believe it or not, sometimes you can't even hear that speaker. It's
Yeah.
like, it's all the way over there.
Yep.
I'm moving my sticks, but you know, what
Yeah.
kind of sound am I getting here?
Well, it's fascinating you guys brought up a little bit of the history of women drummers because back before the 1920s, women were not even in spotlight or even hired. They were for orchestra or swing bands in the 1920s, 1950s. And then a drummer named Vola Smith, she debuted and being the very first professional woman drummer to be a record. I think she
Wow.
passed away a few years ago too, but she's been drumming since the age 18.
All
That's
right,
awesome. That's so
very
Yeah.
neat.
nice.
And
Kudos to
from
her.
I
yep.
can't imagine the door she had to kick down to do that.
Yeah, she
Right?
did the jazz and she did amazing work. I mean, I was watching some videos of hers and she is just banging on those drums. And then soon after, in the 1960s, Karen
I
Carpenter
was just gonna bring
came
her up.
out.
She's a stone
I
cold
watched
badass.
Yeah, I actually watched a video of
Yeah.
her earlier while I was doing my research. It was like, oh my God, yeah, girl.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
And
more
it's so
importantly,
sad because like growing up, I was a little too young for the Carpenters. I was kind of aware of them as a group, but the only thing I really knew about Karen Carpenter was like her struggles with eating disorders and
Oh,
stuff like that.
really?
And yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
until I was, like way into my adulthood that I even learned that she played drums. And I think that says a lot about like
Right.
the type of media like and what it's exposes us to that I knew about her personal mental struggles before I learned about this really amazing talent she had.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's what killed her. The eating disorder is what killed her. That
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
depression. But speaking of Karen Carpenter, and this is another asset that female drummers have, is being able to play and sing. And
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
Karen Carpenter.
yes.
Oh, Joe
You
really
know,
wants me to start singing with him. I'm really shy though.
Oh,
oh, don't be
you do
girl,
it. You could do it.
go for it, girl. It's a
And
lot of
then
fun.
there is a drummer. There's two drummers I have on my list that I never heard of them before, but maybe you guys have. Their name is Honey Lee.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. And how about Mo Tucker?
No.
No, tell us about them.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I know of them because I didn't finish researching it. So I was hoping he has know these things. Ah!
It's like I was hoping you guys knew.
Now I feel like an egg on my face now.
No.
No, you know what it is though. Shells, you have to understand something. For myself, I've never really tried to compare myself to any other female drummers,
Yeah.
who known or unknown, and I've always just tried to be as good of a drummer as I could be in whatever situation I was in, and not worry about competing with guys or girls or whomever, because after in the long run, you wind up beating yourself up, and besides that, other people are already talking behind your back anyway. So
Yeah.
Oh,
you
she
know,
performed. Honey Lee actually performed with a band called the Honeycombs.
nice, the honeycombs. Okay,
Okay.
what's the circa? What's the
Uh,
years?
let me hang on. Let me bring the screen over so that way I can actually see it.
Mhm.
She it doesn't really say a whole lot about her. That's what's sad. Oh, there she goes. Drummer Honey Lee trained. Well, that's her death. We don't want that care. We don't care about that part. 60s. All right.
60.
Um,
She
yeah,
played
Honey.
drums and then she died.
Right. So anyway, was nobody on one of her female drummers to come out in a British invasion,
Uh,
addition as a member and eventually a familiar drummer of the Honeycombs. She probably was the best known woman drummer in a rock and roll in 1960, at least in England.
Wow.
okay, got it. Okay,
Very
got
cool.
it. Good to know. Thank you, Shells.
You're very
Love
Yeah.
trivia.
welcome.
Love trivia. Very good.
And
Well,
then let me get
it's hard out there.
yeah, it is hard because when I was doing some research, of course, I should have got these guys going. Is that I tried to do research of how many women are actually drummers, and all I got was 10% of the popularity is drummers, and if 50% of men. It's like that's not helping me with the exact numbers. I don't care about the 10%. I want to know how many people, and they couldn't even give me the exact number.
Well, it just seems that and maybe Ripley, you can agree or disagree. I'm seeing more female drummers than ever before.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. I've played in a couple different like female drummer showcases, like our band has,
uh-huh.
where one of them had like, I mean, I think there was like six bands at that show, all of them with female drummers.
Okay,
I mean,
Yeah.
drummers,
okay,
yeah, it was really cool. And
yeah,
I've
that's
played in a few showcases like that. So, I mean, they're out there. They're doing it.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
there are really really badass women who could just sit there and just drum, sing,
Yeah.
amazing stuff. And just like
Yeah.
I mean, we have Allie from who's supposed to be here tonight. Kerr. She's from Digging for Change and Heart Smashers,
Mhm.
and we also have Grace from I can't think of her name at the top in my head. So there's a lot of amazing female drummers that are actually starting to just extends and making the waves through this 10% popularity of being men drummers, you know?
It sounds like they're alluding to 10% because they don't want to say it's 20. They got to say something, but we
We're
don't want to say
taking
20,
over.
25. Do I hear?
Exactly.
We're coming for your drumming jobs.
Yeah, move over, ladies. Let's keep it down.
Right. And 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just sneak up behind them and say, yo, we're here.
Yeah.
That's it. That works. That works really well.
Yeah.
We're here and we can
Yeah,
play.
almost. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when we go to play a show and stuff, when I walk in, I almost invariably they'll be like, "Oh, are you the singer? Or do you play guitar?" Like they're always surprised when they find out what I'm actually there for.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
Even if I'm like carrying my bass drum into the venue myself, like, "Are you the singer?" I'm like, "No."
Well, it's fun to see people's reaction when the band is in flow and you're keeping that band in a steady rhythmic happening thing. My group just did speaking of the happening, we just did a show this past Saturday on November 16th where we were in a Mexican restaurant and we had two singers. One sang English and Spanish. She sang "My Way" totally in Spanish,
Oh,
and
cool.
then we did "I Will Survive." I sang the English part, and she sang the Spanish part. It was a
Awesome.
lot of fun because people know the song,
Yeah.
and it's really really good. So she said, "Well, I've not." I said, "So would you like to hear the disco version?" Because I was doing the hi hats,
Yeah.
thing. And she goes, I don't know the disco. I said, well, listen, it'll be fun because when you sing it, I won't do the hi hat as much. But when I sing it, I'm gonna do the hi hat so we got the disco thing going.
Yeah.
Uh, so just a lot of fun having people understand. And again, we did La Bamba.
Oh, fun.
So
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't have. I was just on the traps. So I'm doing the hi hat over here, and I'm using the left hand doing the toms for that part,
Yeah.
and all this, and it was fun. It was crazy, but it works.
That sounds fun.
Now,
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
about Ripple likes to do, well, actually, I don't know about Ripple or her husband, but her husband likes to put her drum snare on fire and she drums on fire. That's
No, yeah, what he
badass.
does is he
Oh,
actually
doing the
he sets
show.
the guitar on my snare and he lights the guitar on fire. And the reason we
Ooh.
set it on my drums now when he does that is because one night he set his guitar down on the stage and lit it on fire. And it was a guitar that someone gave us when we were on tour. They really wanted him to play it. They're like a really big fan of his. They love him. They're like, here, take my guitar, play it, bring it back to me, and it'll have like, your spirit imbued in it, whatever. So we take it, he lit it on fire. It's one we've never done this to before, and it didn't go out. And it didn't go out. And usually he
Oh
puts it
no.
out by like he'll whip off his belt and then put the fire out by like beating guitar with his belt. The fire goes out. And then I'm playing along with him when he does that, and I'll do like a cymbal smash like every time he hits it with his belt. And so we kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and the fire wasn't going out, and we were on a carpeted stage. And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna kill it. Like, we're the next Great White. This is happening. We're gonna burn the club down. Oh dear God. But it ended up going out, and from that point on, we always set it on my drums so that it's not on the stage. The last time we did that, actually, so like 2 months ago, we played a show at like a private party someone hired us for in Oregon, and our stage was outside, and he at the end of it during the last song he sets the guitar on my drums and he lights it on fire. But being outside, there was a gust of wind. And for this reason exactly, I usually keep my hair cut like that short, but I haven't cut it in a really long time. So he goes whoosh with the fire, and the wind blew right at the perfect moment. It went like right up me,
Oh
and
my
I was still
goodness.
playing, and he was like trying to signal that like the bottom of my hair was on fire. He's like trying to tell me.
Oh my
The
goodness.
audience thought it was on purpose and they thought it was amazing, so we just rolled with it. Now we have a
Going
hand
to
signal
show.
for your hair's on fire. It's that.
Oh, okay. Just
Hopefully your hair's
I'll
on
keep that in
fire. Yeah,
mind.
your hair's on fire.
Gotta know that one. That's
Now the guys
awesome.
will never see us on stage and see him doing that. That's what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We're
Nice.
there. We know. What do people do that and say they love what you're doing? You guys are on fire, but you know there's no real fire. Is it that you? We
Right?
love your sound. It's, you
Yeah.
That's
oh,
the
we're
reason
bringing you
why.
both ways.
That's the reason why I see a lot of people who knows that incident has a extinguisher ready to go just in case something happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're happy that your face is okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I am too. I thought I'd like the one thing I was really worried about was my eyebrow and my eyelashes. I was afraid I could just smell burning hair. And I was like, I didn't want to look in the mirror yet. I was like, just tell me. Just are they gone? Is like this whole side of my eyebrow and eyelashes gone? Just tell me. They were fine though.
Wow. Well, wow. What we do for performing, right?
Yeah, right?
Trust me.
I'm not dedicated. Hey, and all the times we've done it, I've only been lit on fire, I think twice now. So that's really pretty good for how many shows we've played.
I'll tell you from experience, regrowing burnt eyelashes and eyebrows is not fun.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
ooh.
had to happen. It wasn't for drumming or anything. I had a gas stove,
Oh
and
no.
it blew up on me. And right after that, I had to go to on stage and put on clown makeup to go perform.
Ooh.
So trying to put on clown makeup, and my other friend of mine who was also dressing like a clown, she knows what happened. She goes, "I smell burning hair." I go, "Shut up." So and I like putting on mascara on the little stubbies.
Oh yeah, the little stubs of your eyelashes.
I had nothing. It was like, trust me,
Oh no.
The hat. This is a
growing.
brand new hat that a friend of ours gave us, but usually the hat that I wear when I'm playing and when I do music stuff, you can see, like, look for pictures of me. You'll see a hat that's all frayed right here, and
Yeah,
it's got an American flag on it right there, and that hat is frayed right there from being caught on fire. That hat is the other time that I got caught on fire.
Oh boy. Yeah, oh boy. The fire department should give you guys a plaque. Yeah, the best band for fire antics.
so Avita, have you ever had that kind of excitement when you're drumming?
I as a rule, I try to stay away from the fires if I can. We had 9/11 out
Smart.
here, so it's like, no, thank you. I love a good fireplace, though. I'll be honest with you. I've always loved playing near fireplaces or sitting in front of one, but no, thank you. Hey, I have to give it to you, Ripley. You might be in the book. You better watch out. Be careful, girl. How many times?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's awesome. Alrighty. So you guys now have you guys ever taught anyone drums? I know Avita has for with a
Yes.
drumming school, but Ripley, have you taught any new drummers lately or interested in teaching new drummers?
No, I wouldn't mind it. I taught piano for a really long time, and I feel like that's the instrument I'm most qualified to teach probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would love to teach someone, probably not like professionally, but if I had like a friend or someone that wanted to learn, I feel like I would probably learn as much from teaching as they would from being taught, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
Yeah.
know, like I would never think to like charge for it or anything, though. I just don't feel that qualified to do that, but I think it'd be really fun and interesting. And I definitely learned when I was teaching piano how much you can learn yourself from teaching new students who have, especially
Yeah.
people who have never played the instrument before. Sometimes the stuff they think of is awesome.
Great, great, great. That's a wonderful experience. Well, the piano is a percussion instrument.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, and again, I'm sure that's what you gleaned from what you were telling us about playing on the dashboard,
Yeah.
from having that experience, that don't be shy about it is what
Mhm.
I would say as uh, a self-taught um, trap set drummer.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things that I have a student now, he's 7 years old, and he came to me, inadvertently through some of the other things that we do. And we first had his sister, my partner, Melody, is his sister's vocal teacher. So um, within the family, the grandmother said, "Hey, my grandson's interested in drums, and I think I'll talk to the mother and see if Rafita can find some time when she comes to New Jersey to teach him and all this." And we've set it up, and I've had him since the summer, and he's really really good. And so I gave him the basics. Started out with the notes, um,
Mhm.
you know, how many beats and stuff, things of that nature. I have a little book for him, which I got from Guitar Center out here,
Yeah.
and we're up to his mother and his knows and his father knows. We're up to the part where he actually needs a set
Oh
because we
yeah.
have to be able to disseminate now, you know, um, the hi hat from the bass drum, from the snare, and how to incorporate the beats that way.
Absolutely.
Um, so they're very aware of that, and they said, okay, yeah. I said, well, and I threw this hint in early. I said, maybe for Christmas you can get him a drum fill.
Oh, I bet he loves you.
Yeah. But because when I walked into their home, he had one of these, mamby-pamby, kid type,
Oh,
it sounds crappy.
yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean, Ripley?
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't have the sound.
at
And
all.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, I said, this kid is doing really well, and I have to say that in terms of practicing, and his mom is helping him and all this kind of thing, and it sounds like he's really loving what he's doing. We better get him a set that's going to give him the right sounds,
Yeah, and give him
you
that
know,
feeling of
and-
creating that sound on the whole kid. It's so different.
yeah,
Yeah. And you don't get
right?
it at all from those little cheap kid sets you're talking about. It
No,
doesn't create that just like thundering, like, sound that you feel in your bones. Like,
yeah,
Right.
there you go. There you go. And so, in respect to his enthusiasm, I sent a couple of links to the parents and said, this is a great way to go. And the other thing is he's not going to be little forever.
yeah.
No.
He's going to grow at some point, and get older and all that. And so he might as well have something that he can grow into, that he knows he's going to have a good sense of and be comfortable with.
Yeah.
So the parents are on board, and I'm really happy about that. And
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, so I just want to say to you, Ripley, that you know, pay it forward,
Yeah.
spread your joy on that level, because you're doing it, and you're doing it um, on a regular basis with your band, and
Yeah.
for you to impart that to somebody else, uh, male or female, who has the desire, they need people who have, and you give me the sense that you enjoy what you do, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and you truly do it in respects to enjoying, not only you enjoying it, but also, your audience enjoying it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also are musicians like ourselves, drummers and pianists and whatever, but they only do it for themselves. They're
Yeah.
not doing it to share that love of what they're doing. And we need more people like you
Oh,
to
thank
pay
you.
it forward. Seriously, so don't be too shy, sweetie, and especially since you've already been in that seat as a teacher.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that means guess what? That means you can teach anything.
Just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if the opportunity presents itself, that's somebody else speaking to you. you know,
Absolutely.
that's the universe speaking to you, saying, "All right, they need you. Go for it, girl."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
just have that one student come up to you and say, "Hey, I want to learn how to play the drums." All it takes is that one
Exactly.
student, and you're
Yeah.
hooked.
Exactly. Keep it surprised, because it sounds like we're throwing that at you.
Okay, again, we'll teach.
Well, but just keep the fire part out.
That's only for the really advanced students.
Yeah,
keep
there
them
you
from being lit
go.
on fire.
Oh, there you go. That a girl.
Wait till the student turns 21, then try to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You got to pay extra for the being lit on fire lessons.
There you go.
I love that you have levels. That's fantastic, So keep us surprised when somebody does step up to you and say, "Hey, I want to learn from you," and you say, "Okay."
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
great.
So we're gonna wrap this up we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon. So on new drummers, male or female, we'll put them both into the same category, especially the women or the little girls. So what do you guys want to say to the young women who are coming out, want to be drummers? What is your greatest advice to them?
I would say just don't be afraid. Just go out there and do it. The best way to become that drummer, that person, is just to do it. And I think, in my experience, I think a lot of women especially find themselves not wanting to do something publicly or perform something publicly if they don't feel like they're perfect at it. And you don't have to be. You just have to do it. And it's so worth it.
Yeah, well, I concur highly with that as advice to anyone who's interested and the willingness to put yourself out there. It's
Yeah.
always good to be around people who are there to encourage you
Yeah.
and who also want you to display your talents.
Yeah.
So, if you can find that arena or that environment, it will just, propel you to really get out there and have fun and enjoy it. Because as you said earlier, Ripley, it's a full body experience,
Yeah.
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's the real joy of it. It's a full
Yeah.
body experience. And
It really
and
is.
and so once they get behind and they just start going and wailing, I mean, with other musicians or without other musicians, just to
Yeah.
have that feeling is always a joy. And it resonates a wonderful electricity and message to the universe, and goes back to the in vitro of that sense of calm and love.
And that first
Being,
rhythm we hear. Nicely
yeah,
Yeah.
done. You
first.
brought it like full circle there from the very beginning of the conversation. Well done.
Right.
That was amazing.
There you go. There you
And then
go. So
yeah, when I very first, and then from my take on it, is that my first experience going into the drum circle, when I started hearing those drums, I was in awe and taken back, and I wanted to learn really badly, and I saved a lot of money to save up for this drum that I have, and so it is a calling. From my experience, is a calling, and just go for it. You never knew what kind of noise is going to come out of everything.
Yeah.
That's my take on anything.
yeah, well, we never call it noise.
Nope.
I
You know,
Sometimes.
we
don't know. My neighbors might.
Yeah,
well, yeah,
exactly.
and others around you.
Right.
One of the tricks that I did with my 7-year-old youngster, knowing that once he gets into it, he's just going to want to pound away on whatever. I came to his home with a rubber pad. I said to his parents, "You're gonna thank me for this later."
Yeah, they are.
so, so that it's never really going to be noise. But now I don't know. I can't guarantee once they get them the set for Christmas and everything, they're on their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're on their own. They'll have to find a part of the house or a time when, okay, we're gonna go down the street here. We're gonna walk the dog. So, you practice for 15 minutes.
Yes.
So he can go wild and really enjoy himself.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So go ahead and plug your guys' social media. How can anyone find you to check you guys out? We'll go with Ripple first.
Okay. You can find us, Juliet Tango,
You can hear our self-recorded demo at reverbnation.com/Juliet Tango. We are hopefully recording a new album in the next few months, so that will be up on all of the relevant music socials then. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/wearejuliettango, and Instagram, Juliet.Tango. Yeah, and stay tuned because hopefully, like, in the next few months, we'll have a new full-length album, like studio album recorded, which we're really excited about.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. Well, we're way past midnightmusic.com. And, we've got a lot of different examples of the variety of things we've been doing since the pandemic in 2021. And as it serves us, we do whatever is called upon. We've done a musical, we've done workshops, we've done concerts. And as I said, we've got this newest project that's really kicking off so nicely every couple of months in the Mexican restaurant in Mattawan, New Jersey, called The Happening. Our next one is going to be February 1st of 2025.
Wow.
And hopefully it's going to be standing room only. And, one gets a full menued meal, appetizer, main meal, and dessert. All the soft drinks are included. And once you're done eating, you actually get a show. Yay!
Yeah. Oh,
But
that reminds me. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm really bad at like self-promotion usually. Also, on December 27th of this year, Juliet Tango is going to be playing at the Valley with a group. If you're from the Northwest, you've probably heard of them. They're called Mr. Master, and they're playing their first show in 3 years on December 27th at the Valley with us and a couple of other groups. It's just like something that's brand new, just happened, so I don't have the other groups on the top of my head. And we will actually be back at the Valley a month after that on January 31st with Cherry Dragon, Filthy Traders, and Concrete Island. And both those shows are going to be amazing. And the Valley is such a cool, fun spot to hang out at in Tacoma. So everyone come out December 27th and January 31st at the Valley.
Got it. And
awesome.
I am what? Vita, what?
Awesome.
Okay,
awesome.
And I am Shels. Let's talk about the music. You can check my stuff out at letstalkaboutmusic.com. This will be a blog post for all of their social media, so you guys can go to the blog on letstalkaboutmusic.com or LTATM.com, and you can check out all their socials. There are all of other stories and all that stuff on that blog. And I will try to be there at the Valley on the 27th because I'm no longer in college after December 12th. I am done. For next 7 months, I can go out and see live shows before I move.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I leave next September to go to get my bachelor's degree at Central Washington University. So I got 7 months. Yeah, 7 months. I am going to see all of you guys in live shows until I move. So I'm all excited. Oh, yeah. So I'll be in the Valley
when you can. Please come to the East Coast.
I will. I have news I need to tell you off the show.
Okay.
So can I stop? Can I start recording now and tell you?
It's up to you.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay.
I need to take a photo of our thing. So don't go away.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Remember, the show is more than just a podcast. It's a multimedia experience. You can enjoy the content as a blog, a both audio and visual format, or stay tuned to connect with other conversation. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that subscribe button. As that way you'll never miss an episode. Also, be sure to sign up for our newsletter for our latest update and exclusive content. Until next time, grab your headphones or tune in visually and let's keep that music journey together. Let's talk music because the music is everywhere.